Hi friends, welcome back. In today's video, I am interviewed by Khulekani from Kakasi FM. I'm so sorry that I look crusty. It's because I was editing and I realized, oh no, I didn't make an intro for them and that is not gonna fly. So I hope you enjoy this video. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, and turn on your notification bell. Let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this interview.
One thing eyafika mawala to this lady esikhuluma namhlanje, I think it's love for the country and for many other things and people. Ganjalo. We're talking to Faith, South African born, now living, working and married abroad in South Korea. Good morning, Faith. How are you?
Good morning. I am doing quite well, thank you. How are you? Good weather today, so I think we're good.
Faith, where are you from? In South Africa, in our neck of the woods. Faith, uzalelwa phi? Ukhula kanjani? Uzalo ubani? We want to get to know you today.
Okay, so originally I'm a Sotho girl, born and raised in Johannesburg. People always say no one is born in Joburg. And I am one of those people that was born and raised there.
You're the exception.
By us. I am the exception. I completely followed through with that until I got married, I guess. But both my parents are also Sotho, so my Zulu is quite bad. So my apologies if I make any mistakes, because Sothos are not that great.
Nah, don't worry. We'll blame the Korean in you. Don't worry.
Yes, okay, I will take it.
So how do you find yourself?
My whole life has been... Oh, go ahead.
How do you find yourself now having to leave South Africa? Go Korea.
So originally being hlala America for like 4 years, and then ngabuyele ekhaya for 2 years, but it just didn't feel right being home. So I wanted to go and maybe go to a different country again and study. And when it comes to studies, Korea is quite popular, and their education, when it comes to higher education, is quite good. So I decided this would be a great place. They want you to speak Korean. So that my Korean wasn't good enough to sit in the classroom. So I thought I could teach because I have experience with children. So I started and I was a teacher, and I never started with my education.
So wahamba uthi uyofunda, then you ended up reverting to working now.
Right, exactly. That's exactly what happened. And I've been working ever since then. But ngiyafunda through UNISA for like a second degree. But that's pretty much my life now. Like still teaching and a student right now, currently. Yes.
How many years has it been use Korea now?
Wow, 4 years now. Wow.
Is it?
Yeah, 4 years. It feels quite short because last year I went home a big chunk of the time I was in South Africa because of the weddings and visa stuff. So it doesn't feel like 4 years, it feels like 3. But last year being Sekaya, which was nice because I hadn't seen my mom and my dad for 2 years. So that was really nice. Yes, it was great to be home.
So I want to get into this now. You have a YouTube channel, and one of the videos there is similarities between Korea and South Africa. What similarities have you found? Or something I saw back in Joburg.
Honestly, there's so much that it still shocks me till this day. I think there's so many similarities that we all don't think about. There's so much connections. For example, so in Korean, how they speak, there's some certain words that have connections to South African languages. Like for example, how they say who, like in Korean, is how siti ndugu. Like motindugu at home,
it's a stick.
Like a piece of stick, but yeah. But here you're actually saying who is that? Like who is that? Ndugu seo? Like who is that? So yeah, that was quite shocking. And how you say hey is exactly how you say hey in Sotho. Yeah, that's quite also surprising too. And they are very into their spices here, like back home. Like flavor is everything in Korean food. And the most important thing is respecting your elders. And in South Africa, that's really, really important across all our cultures. So there's a lot of like things. I've had an easier time adapting to being in South Korea than I had in America, which is strange. I think it has to do, which I think it's because there is a culture that they follow. And in South Africa, we have a foundation, which is our culture. But in America, there isn't an exact culture that they follow. It's more like, I think this is okay, and I would like to do this. But for us, there is a foundation that we follow. And I didn't realize, but I really appreciate that we have that. I love that.
Kuma similarities, did you ever find anything, perhaps, this is perhaps a barrier for me, perhaps language, food, etc.? Did you find any barriers in that sense?
I think the barriers is more on a social front than it is anything else. I think Korea is very convenient. Everything is great. The internet, the food is great. But when it comes to social events or making Korean friends, it's so much harder because they are very closed off. For them, they value who they are. It's Koreans first and then other people afterwards. So even when you have friends, they might say they are your friends, but in reality, they really won't have your back when push comes to shove because it's more about what the Korean government says or their Korean friends. So I think the biggest barrier is with friends. And that's why the expat community here sticks together, I think, for the most part.
Lento manje makes me wonder, how did you charm him? Because we angitshela manje labantu, they are very closed off kanje, but we're gonna get into that in a few. Gonna play some music. Ngifuna uyicabange le answer ukuthi how did you even land this guy? Because manje uyangitshela ukuthi they closed off kanje, but chiki huwelo manje in a wedding gown. Hayibo. Gonna get into that. Perhaps your wedding and your dream man is not akekho la emlazi, akekho nje la eThekwini, musa nje lokhu ixakenisa. So Faith is gonna give us the plug on how to move to Korea and find the love of your life. It's Gagazi FM. It's Orkan Connect. Make sure that you stay with us. Drop any questions on our For Faith on anything outside of South Africa, be it America or Korea. Make sure that you drop those questions on our Facebook page, Midnight Connect on Gagazi FM. Well, we are hanging out and having a conversation with a lady from Johannesburg, Sotho born and bred. Chigili. Untombazane ke. Kambe intombazane ke Sotho. Cause Mushimane is a boy. Ngwanyana o tsamaile ngwaneso waya go Korea now. She found a husband. But Utami Buffalo on Facebook is asking, how is the weather there, number one, and can you speak some Korean?
The weather, can I just say that I don't care what anyone says, but South Africa has the best weather in the world, hands down. Honestly, everything is extreme here. The summer is extremely hot. I've never experienced anything over 30 degrees, but here they get 35 with humidity. And the winter, -14.
Minus what?
-15.
Is that? How do you get used to that? It's like living in a freezer.
I don't know, but it's been so long that I'm used to it. I went home and it was cold, I guess, for my parents and everyone, but I was wearing a t-shirt and my mom was like, what are you doing? It's just my body has acclimatized, I guess, so right. And when it comes to Korean, yes, I do speak a bit of Korean, enough to get around, enough to have small conversations, but anything that's deep is so much harder because their structure is different. We only have two ways, informal and formal. They have 3 steps. It's like very informal, and very like polite. So, and each way you have to end your sentences differently. So it's really complicated and really difficult. So I don't know. Maybe when I don't plan to stay here forever, but just so I can speak to my mother-in-law, I make sure that I know enough to communicate with her. Yes.
So you're talking about deep conversations now. Why deep conversations? I would imagine a while ago with your husband.
Yes.
Tell me about that. There's a language barrier. How do you find love in a distant place? How do you find love in a distant place? Tell us.
That's a good one.
Tell us, Faith. We want to know.
So actually, I had decided I was done because like the dating here, it's rough. Like you either find somebody good or you don't. But Koreans, they ghost you. They even ghost their own people, but they are just not really good at dating. But I don't know. I guess and God heard me and He answered. But I was on a dating app and he was 2 hours away from me, and we swiped on each other, and it kind of happened. But there is no language barrier because he speaks really good English, so we speak English together.
Aww.
And Korean here and there. We speak Korean. But other than that, it's English. But he's pretty good. Sometimes he will ask me, "Oh, what does this mean?" Or I don't understand this and that. But his best friend is British, so he and all his other friends are English, so he speaks English quite well. But we found each other on Bumble, a dating app, and it just kind of happened from there. We spoke for a really long time the first night, and then I think he called me on the phone afterwards too the next day, and it all just kind of happened really fast. Things here happen very, very quickly. So I was kind of used to that, and I think the older you grow, for me personally, I used to think a guy has to date me for 1 year or else he's like a stalker and he's crazy and he probably has like skeletons in his closet. But after 30, I realized if you get to know a person, what is enough for you is okay. So we had a lot of deep conversations with him. He's a very open and honest person. So he told me a lot about his past and things that he wants to do in the future. And I thought, okay, maybe this could work. Maybe this could be something that's good for me.
Tell me about the conversation of you now getting back home. Ukhuluma nabazali like ma baba me lintate gifumene mushimane. How did that one go?
So actually, my mom was a big part of this happening. So so I'm very close with my parents. We have my family is quite close. And when I was young, my mom had told me that yes, she's my mom, but also she would like to be a good friend to me. So she has always said, if you need anything, like let me know or talk to me. So I was having a hard time before we started dating. His name is Gyuho, which is a little bit hard to say, but I said to my mom, I don't know what's happening with this guy. I think we're just not gonna work. I think he hadn't texted me, and my mom was like, how? Send a message. Why are you not sending a message? And I was just like, no, I'm not gonna send anything. And I went onto the internet and looked up jokes, like dad jokes, because he likes dad jokes. But I picked the worst one because it wasn't funny. I picked the worst joke. And I sent it to him, and I told my mom, okay, send it. And she was like, okay, cool. So what was the joke? And I said it to her, and she was like, why? Why did you send that? That was not a funny joke. That's not good. So, and he actually texted me back. He was like, what do you mean? What are you talking about?
So that's the worst thing ever, having to explain your joke. Yeah. Like, this is what I actually meant.
Oh, the worst. So my mom had already known. So, but my dad had always made it clear, whoever I marry, whether it is a South African or anyone else, they have to pay lobola. He was like, I don't care.
Yeah, I can't yabona your dad. Your dad must speak at men's conference. Your dad must be a speaker there. He must address the masses that are sitting, and he must address the men there.
Yeah.
How did that one pan out?
So my parents are so nice, and I think they just helped everything go really smoothly. So he said to me, I sent him a message. So, like, if ubatla batala lobola, what do we do? And he was like, he must talk to me. I can't talk to you about these things. And I was like, okay, cool. So he spoke to my dad, and my dad spoke. They had a conversation, just normal conversation at first. And my dad explained to him, okay, you're quite far. It will be hard for your family to come here. But in our culture, lobola is really important because it is the foundation of the marriage. And he explained how for him and my mom, that he thinks that's the reason why they are still together, because of how they did things in the beginning. So it's important for us to do things the right way in order for us to last as well. And then they spoke about the procedure and how it's done and how much money and stuff like that. He said, my husband he has one uncle who isn't necessarily the best person to actually do these kinds of things. So my dad was just like, okay, it's fine. We can just keep it between. So they did it together. They basically negotiated, my husband and my dad.
Oh, that's cute. I love it.
Together. Yeah, and then my husband just sent my dad the money, and then that was it. And my dad, when he got the money, he called called my husband and said, "Congratulations, you are now a married man." And it was really, I mean, for them that was a bond because they're quite close now. So. It was pretty great. It was really, really good.
I love it for him, man. I love it for him. And I was wanting to hear what is just like having a paper in his hand, trying to read your clan names and mumbling.
And then the thing is, I don't know, man. This guy is really good with languages. When he was in South Africa, he says everybody's name really well. He says certain words really well. I don't know what it is about him, but he's really good with the languages. People were quite surprised. His thing is he says haibo a lot. I say mara a lot, so now he says mara a lot. Like, so he'll say mara, why? He says stuff like that. But he's quite catching like language, so I think maybe that's a talent of his. I don't know, but
I see you rubbing off on him. There's a question from Khulekani saying, what is your favorite food that side, and would you ever leave your career for your husband? Let's say you're relocating to another place now.
Okay. First, food. That's so difficult. Korean food is really good. You shouldn't look at it. Just taste. Don't look.
Are you serious? You shouldn't look at it.
If you look, you might. Pella, it's not the same as the stuff that we're used to. So uzoti, no, like I can't eat this. You would probably think this is horrible, but it tastes so good.
You know how I get that from the worms. What is it?
Maopane
worms. Yes. I get that because a lot of people like, these are so nice. I'm like, if I didn't look at them, I would probably.
It has to be a blind taste, but it's really hard to pick one favorite. But they have their own braai, but it's like indoor and you sit down. It's called samgyeopsal, and it's so good. Like they cut the meat like in small pieces, and you get a leaf. This sounds bad, but you get like maybe lettuce. You put lettuce in your hand, put some meat in there. You put some veggies as well, like mushrooms. They have bean sprouts, and you put it in your mouth, and it's so good.
That sounds amazing. I can really imagine.
Yeah, it's really good. And they usually accompany it. They always drink, so they have that with beer or soju, which is horrible. Soju is horrible, but beer, I guess it's okay. But yeah. And the second question was, would I leave? I don't know, because it's hard to say, because I teach online and
so you can basically work from anywhere.
Exactly. So I can work from anywhere. So it's hard to answer that question. However, I have grown up in a family that my mom and my dad put our family first. So I would probably put my family first and try and figure out something else that I love doing. So if he said, okay, we want to stay in Korea forever. Okay, maybe that's a no. That one I would say no to. I can't, these benefits, every place has their positives and negatives. And for children, I think Korea is a negative. It's not a good place to raise your child, whether they are Korean, mixed, or any other race. It's just not good socially for a child. So if he said he wants to move to South Africa. So I don't know. I said, we can move anywhere else, and he said South Africa. But if he had said a different country, I would probably just go where he says is good. As long as obviously we talk and we communicate what are the benefits of going to that place, then yeah. But my family is definitely above everything else. I think I've grown up wanting that kind of stuff, and now that I have it, it is a little difficult to manage sometimes, but that core foundation is still the most
important. It's still there.
Thing.
Madoda. Where he leads me, I will follow. Forever, forever yena. Where he leads me, I will follow. Faith, what you hamba wena? What in young ngempela ngempela. Wahamba umuntu sithi uzojika la eBram, hayi. Wahamba umuntu. Gone. She's now a gone girl. Wahamba waye Korea eyo isebenzela wafika umendo shadile manje yey uyizinto zonke nje. So there's a question coming in on our WhatsApp line. I want to play it for you, and then you get to weigh in on it. This one, I think we have new money like South Africa, so they've printed out new notes. Lauma notes anama typos. Yeah. South Africa is a movie, guys. And I believe South Africa, if we were a bouquet of channels, South Africa is the comedy channel. We have Imali.
Oh no.
We have Imali in the typo. But we are about currencies. So we are about currencies. This is the question.
Hello, Khulekani.
Okay.
Ngiyaphila nosisi lapha. Mina ngicela ukubuza in terms of the currency, ama-changes zihamba kanjani lapho? Uyayibamba kodwa asiyangidida leya guy.
So basically uyabuza ukuthi imali khona lapha eKorea noma
yeah. Actually, I think currency, I mean, in South Africa, our exchange rate is quite low. So regardless of where you are, well, it depends, I guess. You go to Whoopi Marat, I make a lot of money here. So if, let's say you're a teacher coming in a month, you could make 30,000 a month. So I would say yes. And the currency here, imali, like actual money, is strange and much smaller than our money too. But then, no, like if you come to Korea, I think people live lavishly. Like Banama, soft life when people come here, because they actually make a good amount of money to send home and help their families, and still are left with like maybe a fair amount for them to go and travel and do whatever they like. So I would say we make a good amount, but China makes more money than Korea for teachers, Dubai makes
Would you ever advise, because there's a lot of teachers abafundile graduated bane-B.Ed banayo yonke into, but they can't find jobs in the education sector in South Africa. Would you ever advise any of them to venture into Dubai, China, and Korea for such jobs?
Oh, yes, 100%. I would, however, say choose China or Dubai, because Dubai is more about actual teaching, and they definitely pay you way more than any of these other countries. I think it's a proven fact that Dubai pays more than all the countries. So number one is Dubai, and then China would probably be the second. And you could migrate to Australia and New Zealand too. They also are looking for teachers, and it's so easy for you to, like, as long as you do your research. That's very, very important. Just don't choose any place, but research is important. But yes, there's so many jobs. Like, it's just it's hard for abantu ukuthi bahambe South Africa, so people refuse to leave. So I think that could be a really hard thing for them.
And I feel like the signs are telling us to leave. There are so many things that are telling us, go away, leave me, and we like, no.
Kanjani, how is that even possible that they made a typo on the... Wow, that's shocking. That's really shocking.
And it's out. It's out on circulation. I think it's been a week now, and it's like,
oh my gosh.
And it's a Tonga language, so not a lot of people noticed it. Like if it's Obonwa Imena, I'm not gonna notice it. So my Sebonda Tonga like, man, but you don't write this way, man. You don't. This is not the correct way of saying this one.
But to see Rainbow Nation, that's why they probably will say something like that.
It is what it is, man. We are living, it's in Comedy Central in China. We are Comedy Central for sure, and the world is having a laugh.
It's unfortunate, but yeah, it is what it is at this point. There's nothing that can be done.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, man. I know I've taken a chunk of your morning. But shout out to you, man. Hey, shout out to you, man, for giving us some time. Any words of advice or pieces of advice to anyone wanting to relocate abroad, perhaps to say journey? What should they look out for as they venture into a life abroad?
I mean, first, moving abroad is brave. It takes a lot. It's not an easy thing to do. So for people that have started the journey, good on you. And I'm pretty sure in the future it might be hard, but just make sure that you surround yourself with people that are supportive. And for people that want to do it and are trying to find channels, make sure that you do as much research as you possibly can. YouTube has a flood of information. So there's so many. There's YouTubers, Bayanza, like teaching in China, teaching in Korea, teaching in Dubai. Watch all of those, read the comments, and find your own way, because it doesn't mean that just because one person has done it this way, that's the only way it can be done. There's so many other ways too. But I would say moving abroad helps so much. It broadens your mind. Even for Tina, we see so many people in South Africa, but I would say definitely go for it.
Thank you so much, man. Thank you so much. I know you have your own YouTube channel.
Thank you so much for having me.
Where do we find that channel? How do we interact? Ngifuna wonke umuntu ofuna indoda phesheya. Ahamba yongena kulelo. Yeah, kulokudlala siya no Sipho. Yeke kulokudlala Sipho lani lokudlala siya lokudlala Snela. Umuntu wakuphesheya.
My YouTube channel is Faith O, so FAITH and O as in like, oh my gosh, like that. And my channel is about self-development, and there is vlogs and also just sit downs about like life in general too. I try to have an open conversation about a lot of things that happen in our society, and just also share a bit of my life as well, because people are quite interested in my life, and including my husband in it too. So I try to include him as much as possible.
So your husband is probably your biggest fan, I guess. I would gather.
Oh my gosh, too much though, too much. He's like, oh, like the editing here wasn't okay. Maybe next time try to do this. And he'll watch all the things. Like, okay, so he does my Korean subtitles, and he said it's an investment for him to buy a BMW. So he'll do whatever it takes
to get a BMW.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Matt, for hanging out with us. And again, I think one day, probably soon, we might have to do one with you and him and try and find out.
Oh, he would love that.
What is it about this South African flavor that got you saying, no, I want this one. I can't live without this one.
He would really love that. Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it.
Thank you so much, man. Have a fantastic day further.
Thank you. You too. Bye.
Kwaze kwamnandi ke mako ukuthi you missed out on this particular one. Make sure every single week, every Wednesday, we check out conversations with people living, working abroad. And today we were hanging out with Faith O. Search, find and follow her on YouTube as Faith O. She has a channel that she speaks about her life and everything concerning that, man. Uzobona nomshado wakhe lapha bemthwele engena njengenkosazana yaseGoli, princess from Joburg getting into a Korean wedding. Make sure that you search, find and follow that and interact with her.
Okay, so that was the whole interview. What did you guys think? I was really, really nervous, but he is such a nice guy that I felt really comfortable, and everything went pretty quickly. I didn't even realize we were on air for that long. It was initially supposed to be just 20 minutes, but I just wanted to stop right in here and say thank you so much for watching till the end. If you watched until the end, let me know what city you would love to live in. My favorite city that I would love to live in, I think, would be Portland in America, but I will never go back to America, so I think Cape Town in South Africa might be it for me. Thank you so much again for watching, and I really appreciate you guys. I can't wait to see you guys in the next video. Bye.